WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
This Christmas, Flow is making the season merrier when you add postpaid to internet. Unwrap a new Samsung smartphone for only $29. Plus, we're giving you 50% off your mobile bill. And win even more goodies with our Spin the Wheel Christmas promotion. This Christmas, the rewards are on us. Add postpaid to your internet plan today in-store or visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, we keep your Christmas rhythm flowing.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, today on WEFM 99.9, we're going to make way for Lyf this morning with his commentary. Lyf, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Maka. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Who all is there?
Roleza's here with me.
I waited for, hey, Roleza, how you doing this morning? No, we alternate mornings, all right? Good morning, Lyf.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Well, this morning, right, I know we've been talking for the last couple of weeks. It's strictly politics and what's going on in the country, right? But yesterday, I saw a post on Facebook from a guy. I think his Facebook name is Maka or something like that. And this is something that has been going on in the country for a very, very long time in relation to mentally unstable people running around, walking around freely and creating havoc. And it seems to be an ongoing problem. And it has in the past resulted in them killing people, mentally unstable people killing people, and police killing them, right? So what the guy is saying is that he was working in Green Hill. I don't know what kind of job he does, but he said he was working in Green Hill a couple of weeks ago, and this mentally unstable guy put a fake gun to his head and told him that he would, if he wanted him to shoot him in the head 5 times. So, I don't know at what point he realized the gun was fake, but he said the gun was fake. So he said that he moved away from the situation, and the guy followed him and began threatening him and telling him he's going to kill him or whatever. He said he went back to the area a second time, and the guy basically came up to him again and was threatening to kill him, and he had to run for assistance by a house and get one of his friends to come for him and take him out of the area. Now, interesting enough, under the post, Skinny Fabulous, Gamal Doyle, said that he had a similar encounter with the same guy. And in the post, the Frost also posted a video he took with the guy, so you could see the guy has some weird movements or whatever. You know what I mean? And he said he called the police, and it doesn't seem like if the police went, and I think Skinny said that he also called the police when it happened to him, and I don't know what was the outcome of that. It seems like if this is going to continue to be a problem, and it still seems as if people are not taking this, the authorities not taking these things seriously. And as I said, these incidents have been ongoing for a very long time. We saw a police officer being shot and killed by a mentally unstable guy, and another one being wounded. We saw a mentally unstable guy walking in Kingston and randomly knocking out people. There was the incident where Girani Batiste is alleged to have walk from Camden Park, walk from Kingston to Camden Park and back to Kingston, and kill 4 people in a space of 24 hours, in less than 24 hours. And the stories are always the same. I interacted with Johnny Batista's mother after that incident, and she told me that for years and years and years she was trying to get help for him through all the right channels as well. What she called the right channels. That she was going to get help for him, and she wasn't successful in getting help for him. There was a similar situation where people were complaining about this guy in Kingston that ended up beating some random people and killing one. You know, at the time when Gleason Lewis is alleged to have shot the police officers, right? His thing was an ongoing thing. He was terrorizing his family and people in the area for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the police would just go and probably talk to him and then leave again. And the day the incident took place where the police officer was killed, right? A psychologist said that she was on her way to Gleason, and the police arrived first, and that transpired. And she thinks that if she probably had reached there in time, it wouldn't have happened. You understand? You hear these same, all these stories follow the same structure. Constant complaints from people in the area where these things happen and nobody doing anything. There was a young man in Kitters that was making trouble, and police would be called a lot of the times, and it would just be the same thing. They would talk to him and leave. At one point, the police went to him, and you know what he did? He threw gas on one of them and was going to light them a fire, and the police had to run. You know what I mean? And the intervention for these people could be done, you know, but it just seems like there's a lack of will to do it. You know what I mean? Stevenson, over the last couple of years, from 2001 to now, have offered scholarships in so many different areas. Why? Somebody they basically said at one point that we're not offering scholarships for law, for people who want to pursue law, because too many people pursue law. So we offering scholarships in different categories. I haven't seen any scholarships being offered in psychiatry or anything along that line to help out obviously a big problem we have in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We have been unable over the years to keep a psychiatrist, even at the mental health center in England. And one psychiatrist who went there described the place as not a psychiatric facility, but I forgot the word that was used. It was basically a prison for people with psychiatric problems, not a place to help them. Like basically a place he just dumped them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Coincidentally, I was speaking to a medical professional operated out there for years, right? And he said that there was this guy there, and he would often take the guy, when he was walking, he would take the guy and show the guy what he was doing for work, and the guy was a really good learner. The guy was basically learning the skill that the person had. I don't want to say who the person is because it might put them out, and people might know who I'm talking about, and I don't want that. So he had a task there, a very important task there, and he said that the guy was under his wing, and the guy was learning the task very well. So it was a situation where proper intervention could have that person. And you know what happened to the person? The person caught something and died from living there. You know what I mean? So it just shows a pattern where anytime you have any mental illness and the needs, you will be treated the worst way possible. I spoke on the same program about a very comprehensive psychiatric program that is being conducted in the prison. And there was an initiative, there was started the program that was planned for months. An entire month of planning went down the drain because of the day the program was supposed to, the part of the program was supposed to be done. There was not enough security at the prison to supervise it. This is something that was being planned for months. And it's a very comprehensive program that has helped and is helping plenty prisoners with mental issues. Now we have this guy going to work and a mentally unstable person put a fake firearm to him and told him he was shooting in the head 5 times. Now suppose it was a real gun and he was dead. You know what I mean? These are problems that we have been seeing over again, and this is one problem that can be easily solved. But there's no willpower to solve it.
When you say easily solved, though, how could it be easily solved? Because I do see that this is a complex issue, though. But I will tell you why afterwards. Yeah.
Right?
Listen
to this carefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why, when someone calls and say there's a mentally unstable man in an area doing something or whatever, why is the response not immediate? Why is it a reactionary response when the person does something? Do you know that the procedure where when mentally unstable people are detained, they're not supposed to be taken directly to the mental health center? There's a protocol that says they have to be taken for assessment by a psychiatric medical professional before they're taken there. That is not done. When the person eventually does something, they either take them to prison or they take them to the mental health center and chop them off. Now, if we have all these protocols in place, why are they not being adhered to? There are protocols in place to deal with these people. Why have we been able to set up a proper mental health setup in the country? Why haven't we been able to retain psychiatrists or retain psychologists that are charged with doing this? It's just a matter of putting something like that in place. That's why I said it's something easy to deal with. Maybe the outcomes would not be received easily. But at least put it in place and try. There seems to be no willpower to try. People just feel contented when they get extremely violent and the police react. And the police shoot them. You know how many mentally unstable people have been shot in civils by police and killed over the years when some sort of intervention could have deal with that situation? Why haven't we been offering scholarships for people to pursue psychiatry? We good enough to say we're not offering scholarships to people who want to pursue law. We got that streamlining where we want what we want them to do. Why nobody hasn't been streamlining to psychiatry or psychology? We only have few psychologists in civils and these, and it's a psychologist different than a psychiatrist.
All right,
why the protocols are not followed? The protocols are not followed. The protocols are never followed. It's either they go straight to prison with a charge or they go straight to the mental health center. That is not the protocol.
All right,
there are people high up, right? In the medical hierarchy in civil society who thinks who is so far out of touch with what is going on in relation to psychiatric people that they think that the protocol is followed. I'm not talking because I want to talk, and I'm talking because I know these things as facts. There are people high up in the medical hierarchy that think when somebody is taken off the street, they are taken for the evaluation first before they are sent to mental health center, sent to prison. That never happens.
All right. Okay, Maka, you wanted to jump in?
I was gonna tell, like, most of the time, these things happen, nothing come out of it. I remember a guy, right? Well, he mentally ill, right? And he broke like 3-person will scream in the area.
Yeah.
And nothing come out of it.
Yeah, I know that was in the camera.
Yeah.
What comes out of it is that these people are sometimes charged criminally, taken to court, sometimes sent to evaluation by the court, then go back to court, then go to prison.
Mentally ill person?
Yeah, that's what happened. A lot of them are in prison. A lot of them are in prison. Whose actions were spoiled by mental illness are in prison. And it is only now that there's a program in prison trying to help them. And what I have found out is that a lot of the people who are placed on medication have been placed on the wrong medication. And recently have had to be weaned off of the medication they were placed on because the medication is wrong and given different medication, and some of them no medication at all because that is not what the intervention wants. Needs. I should say not what needs. We don't have a system. We don't have a system in place. A system is now trying to be put into place, but it's also facing a lot of pushback from some people for whatever reason. I don't know.
All right, let me just interject here a little bit, Lyf. All right, so based on a couple of things that you said, I remember listening, being a part of the Cop Chat program once when we were speaking about this same issue. And one of the issues that police officers tend to face as well is that whenever they do respond to situations, many times family members don't want for their family members, whoever it is they may have called police on, to be committed or to be taken for evaluation, right? Many times they tell police officers they just want it for the police officer to come there to talk to them, maybe as a way of scaring them, but they do not want for them to be committed in any way. So that is one of the challenges that the police officers say that they have been facing, right? Another point as well is that even let's say we are going to take care of all of these mentally ill persons or these mentally challenged persons. Yes, you've highlighted the point of there not being enough psychiatrists. Well, yes, you psychiatrists, there not being enough psychiatrists. But do we also have enough facilities to house these persons? Another thing is that before we even get to the point of a full-blown situation or a full-blown episode, how many persons look at mental illness as actually being a serious issue, right? I noticed that it almost slipped out in your conversation when you were speaking. And the thing of it is that many times, not saying that you did, but I'm saying that many times Vincentians label everybody as being crazy, right? So you see certain antics and you see certain things, even let's say displayed as somebody, as a child or even as adolescent, and we label all of them or we blanket all of them as being crazy, right? And because of that, many persons do not want to get help because if I say that I'm going to a therapist or if I'm going to a psychologist, then persons are going to think that I am mentally unstable. So even as a society, we have to change the way in which we view mental health and mental illness. In that, if somebody, and I think we have to recognize that all of us are not wired the same way mentally, right? And I think as a society, we need to be a little bit more tolerant and a little bit more understanding, a lot more forgiving. And when it comes to persons who may have mental issues, right? So in that way that these persons don't necessarily feel as if they're excluded from society, but they can play their role once they get proper medication, right? There's another challenge too with persons who are mentally unwell, who are on medication, because I don't know if you have ever encountered a mentally ill person who does not recognize that they have an issue, right? And how are you going to get, exactly. So how are you actually going to get them to take their medication if, number one, they do not recognize that they do have an illness? And number two, you cannot, I don't think that you can actually force them, unless they're committed, you can actually force them to take their medication. So that is also another challenge that we face here in society, right? I do get where you're coming from. I do get what you're saying, but I don't think that it's just the authorities. I think it's a collective approach from all of us within society.
Yeah, the thing is right. The comprehensive program in the prison started with the last administration, right? And it's being continued with this administration, which is good, right? But the problem, I think, comes from the base of the situation where, okay, let me give you an example of what I mean, right? Because I might be some confused when I say the base of the problem, right? I have this friend, she had a son in primary school and he was being disruptive in class or whatever. He would settle sometimes he wouldn't settle. The teachers would call him stupid and doty. He would argue back with them and tell them is the one who's stupid or whatever, right? It came a situation where the teachers didn't want to be with the child anymore, say the child crazy or whatever, and they will put the child out of the class, and then they go to the ministry, and the ministry is telling the young lady now she has to send her child to the school for children with special needs. Now this child does not have school for children with special needs issue. The child ends up seeing a psychiatrist, a professional psychiatrist, right? And was diagnosed with ADHD and given medication. And the child is in a different school setting and is doing extremely well in school just because they received medication.
Right.
If that person hadn't met me and I suggest that they see this psychiatrist, the child would be in school for children with special needs where the child does not belong.
And that's what I'm saying when we blanket everything and call it crazy.
Yeah, because it has to start in the schools, in the primary schools where children with behavioral problems are properly assessed. So somebody professionally trained, a psychiatrist, will be able to assess these children with behavioral problems and put them in groups. Okay, medication can help this person. This person needs a different type of intervention or whatever. And that's where it needs to start. Because what happens is now, you go through the entire primary school system, and then let me just say make it on with a problem, never solved. Let me say make it on to secondary school, I don't make it on. You make it on to secondary school, the problem is still not dealt with. Then you go into the workforce, it's still not dealt with. And then there's an escalation of your problems and it just end up and manifests itself in different ways because it's never dealt with from the beginning. So that's where we need to start. And I realized, okay, this new administration seems to have a bit of focus on non-traditional areas that weren't focused on before, which is good. Because as I said, I saw Ms. Velox, when the thing happened, she put out a release and said this was the situation, they will deal with it, whatever. I saw Minister of Education, Philip Jackson, say they provided counselors to students because of the fire, or whatever. Which was kind of strange because they were the fire started, but we don't get into that right now. But that is a start, that is a push towards the right direction, though. But counselors are not really trained, psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever, but that is a push in the right direction. But it needs to be looked at some base there in the schools, where sometimes a child might be acting out not because they buns or because they have some different issue that needs to be looked at the special needs school or whatever, but just because they're probably suffering from something that can be dealt with very easily, like how the same youngster was given medication and now he's good.
Yeah.
So that's where the problem coming from. We need to focus from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have been arguing for years now that there's mentally unstable people should not be on the streets of Kingston walking about freely. We have spent millions of dollars building other things. Why we could never build a comprehensive mental facility where people can be placed and have a structured way of life and help? Other than walking up on these jungle streets of Kingston and begging, and then some of them not violent because their condition doesn't make them violent, but some of them conditions make them violent, and occasionally they trip up and say and do people things. And these things they have. Spend $2 million on build a facility now.
And with that, Lyf, you could probably end there, right? Yeah, you could echo that point again. I give you 20 seconds.
Yeah, Maka Raji for the give me a little more time.
And what is your new sheriff in town? The sheriff reach back.
Reach back, yeah. So, yeah. But I hope people understand what I'm saying. And as I said, the new administration is moving towards recognizing some non-traditional areas, and I hope this is one that they could also deal with.
All right.
I have faith in it. You know what I mean? So thanks.
Very good. All right, Lyf, have a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Oh boy. I agree with Lyf 100%. They need to get somewhere to put all these guys. Trust me.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we are going to head on out of this segment and be back with more on the Flow Activated Mornings program here on WEFM.
99.9 WEFM.
And the time right now, it is 8:10, and our time check came through the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life.